Okay, it's almost getting there. Then we also looked at the pre-service teacher education. What are some of their roles? So the pre-service teacher training provides standardization of educational process and outcomes. They also provide both philosophical and ideological positions to the teacher education because it sees teaching as a primarily as an act. So teaching is an act and it's also a science. As an act, probably you might have the inner edge to be teaching, but as a science, you have to go through schooling in order to acquire the basic skills to teach. Okay, so let's look at what we are to do today. Okay, so today we are looking at training. Now, when we say training, what comes to mind? We are simply looking at acquiring concrete skills to meet specific goals in life. Training is practical, hands-on, activity-based. Okay, so it simply refers to the acquisition of concrete skills for meeting specific goals in real life. According to Sloman, it is characterized as an instructor-led, content-based intervention leading to the desired changes in behavior. It could also be defined as a systematic development of a person in terms of knowledge, attitudes, skills that is necessary for the person to be able to perform adequately in the job or the task that is assigned to the person. Okay, so now what is teacher training? When you go to the colleges or the universities, we are simply looking at the courses and the qualifications that a teacher needs to follow in order to receive the skills needed in his or her career. So the courses and qualifications that teachers follow and receive at the beginning of their career, that will help you to enter well into the career. Teacher training is a practical work, the skills and performance of a teacher in the classroom. Now, it involves closed skills and aims to improve the performance of the teachers. Now, it looks like it looks at classroom management, identifying people's skills, since we have different types of people in a class. Then maintaining student cumulative records, that is books, report card, anything that you use in the profession. The characteristics or features of teacher training. So teacher training courses mainly comprise practical teaching. Practical teaching, for example, when you are on campus, even though you are teaching your own friends, it is the theory that you put into practice. So it comprises the practical teaching observing peer teaching service and sessions. So still on the on-campus, you are dealing with your mates, not the actual students. So you observe each other. Some will serve as students at a time, then a teacher, then they rotate. Then it also deals with the theoretical studies, which is later put into practice. Now, these make up the period of 3 years in school, and now it is changed to 4 because the university is doing 4. So now the colleges are also doing 4 years. So a whole year, you do the off-campus, that is out. You go out and you teach for a whole year, then you come back, then you take your final year in the school. Now, even though we receive this training in the school, still teachers who are on the field are not really satisfied with this standard of teaching, especially when you are new in the field. Probably they are thinking that the universities and the colleges staff lack the updated or the first-hand experience necessary for training to be successful. So if you are employed in a different region, they would still give you on-the-job training. You will know the culture of the school and how to go about teaching in the area that you'll be posted to. Okay, so the training of teachers, okay, will include several aspects like they teach how to manage the classroom very well. You know, we are dealing with children. So definitely you have to learn how to manage the classroom. Everything in the classroom is under your care. Then you should be able to identify students and their skills. A recent experience I had, people always drawing on the decks that is being used in the classroom. Now I realized that when you are teaching, he's not interested in whatever you are teaching, but that is the time he would use to draw. Yes, so we should be able to look out for all these things when we are in the classroom. Then you should be able to identify kids or students with special needs. Yes, some children need attention. They even come from the house with a whole lot of issues. So you need to know how to manage them in order to get them into the learning mood. Then you can. Then how to handle destructive behaviors in the classroom. And this normally happens when you are even writing on the board. The moment you turn, there is some giggling and other things in the classroom. You turn your back and there is nothing there. Everyone is quietly looking at you as if nothing happened. So we should be able to use our corner eyes and the rest when we are in the classroom. Then you should also record and manage cumulative record books. So we have the assessment sheet, which will look at the class scores, that is the class test, the exercises, homeworks, and any other group work or presentations that the children will be made to do in the process. So Matthew looks at some features of effective teacher training. So first he looked at the content. So the content will deal with your knowledge on the subject matter or the content that you will be teaching. So if you are teaching science, what is your knowledge base? Do you have mastery over the subject matter? What content will you be teaching? And even though you are teaching, you should also consider the method. For some method, might not be applicable for teaching some topics. So the methodology will deal with the how, and the knowledge is what. What are you giving to the kids? What knowledge are we imparting to them? Then it also looks at, okay, so active learning. Active learning. Okay. So active learning makes the class more interactive. And in the classroom, we prefer that one than the passive way, which is normally the lecture, as we are doing. You are quietly listening to me. I'm giving you the information. But if it should be in the classroom, it should be activity-based, where the teacher is also performing some of the activities. So the teacher is being observed. And then the students will also be observed by the teacher. And it makes learning very easy, and teaching as well, very easy. So active learning encourages teachers to be actively engaged in meaningful discussion, planning, and practice by including opportunities such as observing and being observed during teaching. Then the third one will deal with coherence. Now, under coherence, we are looking at the logical presentation, or how well your facts will fit into the situation. So the third feature of effective teacher training is the teacher's perception. That is training activities that are part of a coherent and integrated program of a teacher learning. So coherence simply measures alignment and consistency. That whatever you say is logical, and people can read from step 1, step 2, step 3, and they see the connection between what you are saying. Then the next one is looking at the duration. We know time is limited, and time is precious too. So it is looking at the fact that the time is too short, and the follow-up too is limited. It provides limited follow-up. Now, reforms in education are highly demanding, of course. And to implement this, we need more time. If we want to make big changes, we need more time, so that we can practice everything in the reform in order to make the classroom a better place.
Hello, madam.
Yes.
Please, for your presentation, can you move to the slide in which you are teaching from? Because it's still stuck on the what is teacher training.
Oh, okay. So the duration is not showing, right?
Yes, madam. Because we are watching from the presentation. So if we are not on the same slide, we seem to be lost.
I have a small challenge. So what are you seeing now?
What is teacher training?
Oh, okay. Let me stop sharing. Hold on for me.
Okay, madam.
Okay, so what are you seeing now?
There's nothing showing, madam.
Okay. Hello. Hello.
Hello, madam.
Hello.
So what are you saying now?
Is on what is teaching? Sorry, training.
And the next one.
It's still what is training?
But it shouldn't be so. I'm changing the slides here.
Well,
Yes,
unfortunately, it's not changing here. So now
it has
here,
changed.
it has changed to
It
what
has
is
changed. It
teacher
was
training.
first there. Mm.
Okay, now it's changing. Characteristics of features of teacher training. It's changing now.
It's changing.
Yes, madam.
Okay. So what do you see now?
Durations. Now this one is durations.
Okay. So I was talking about the fact that for reforms to be well implemented, we need time. We need ample time in order to cause big changes in the educational setups.
Yeah, Jibonapa. What about why? Yeah, Jibonapa, would they have Vinyaya?
Please mute your microphones for me. Okay, so what I have here is hello.
Hello,
Common
madam. Where
critique
with you?
of training is that it is too short and provides limited follow-up. Reforms efforts in education are highly demanded. We have that, right?
Yes, madam.
Okay. So there is a consensus among even scholars that to implement such changes, teachers requires to be more interactive in order to get proper feedback from both parties or all stakeholders in order to make education goals well achieved. Then the next one is collective participation. Do you have that one?
Yes, madam. We have it.
Okay. So when we talk of collective, we are looking at groups. Okay. So the fact that as teachers, we can learn in groups in order to achieve our full potential, because knowledge is not in one person's head. Even everybody has a style of teaching. And sometimes you can even look at yourself or assess yourself or even record yourself. Then you can play back to see where you went wrong in your presentation. Then you sit in other people's class and then you watch how they go by their teaching, and then we pick some things from all these places in order to make ourselves better. So it is also there is a growing interest in professional development that is designed for groups of teachers and from the same school, department, or grade. Now, if we know each other, we are able to communicate well. It makes the discussion very interesting and more interactive because we already know ourselves. So teachers that work together and teach similar subjects are more familiar with each other, making it more likely that they will engage in the discussions of the curriculum, concepts, skills, problems, and students' needs during their teacher training experience, and allow them to integrate what they have learned together. Okay, so we are looking at the concept of teacher education and training, similarities and then differences. Okay. So what is education? It is to all of us. What is education? Hello? Okay, so under education, we are looking at activities that is aimed at developing the knowledge, skills, morals, and understanding required in all aspects of life, rather than knowledge and skills relating to only a limited field of activity. So we can have a formal education and then informal education. Mind you, education is broader than training, because sometimes training is limited, but education should make an individual develop wholly and to be able to integrate well into society. So Roundtree 81 also defines education as the process of successful learning of knowledge, skills, and attitudes, where what is learned is worthwhile to the learner. So whatever is learned should be of great importance to the learner. And it is the learner, or it is what is learned in such a way that the learner can express his or individuality through what he or she has learned and can subsequently apply it and adapt to it. So with sometimes when you are being educated, you don't even know. I remember I was giving test items to someone. Then I was looking through it. Then I realized that, I remember in my school days, they said when you are arranging the objectives, that is the options, it should follow alphabetical order. You see, it is now that the application has come. Even though I've learned the thing over 4 years. So sometimes with education, you really can't see unless the situation brings itself. Then you learn how to manage it. Okay, what is teacher education? Teacher education.
Hello, madam.
Yes, yeah.
Hello, madam.
Yes.
Yes, please. Good. Then I wanted to ask a question about the education and training. You made mention that
Okay.
education is broader than training. So I want to find out, is training under education, or is it
Training is
in education?
okay. So training is under education in the sense that when you are given the theories in education, it is the training that brings the practical aspects to fore. Do you get me? So
Yes.
training, hello,
Yeah, yes.
your
Madam, I get
voice.
you. I'm in a moving vehicle.
Oh, okay. So after
Hello.
asking your question, you can mute it. You can mute your microphone and listen to me. Okay. So we looked at the fact that Training is practical. So it is activity-based. Then with the education, it is the studying of the various theories, which is later on put into practice. A colleague teacher said she prefers training college to the university because in the training college, it is the practical way of the classroom that you see, rather than in the university where you learn theories of education and all those things. You don't really see the practicality of the thing unless it is time for you to go out. Then when you see the things happening, you make references to those theories. Do you get me?
Yes, madam.
Okay. So now let's look at teacher education. Now, teacher education is looking at the procedures and policies that is created to equip prospective teachers with knowledge, skills, behaviors, and attitudes that are required for effective classroom activities. The teacher is well known to be in the classroom. So for the teacher to flourish in the classroom, the teacher needs to be equipped with knowledge, skills, and behaviors that are required for the teacher to effectively perform in the classroom. So it is looking at improving the teacher's minds and knowledge. So it is also, teacher education is also a program that is related to the development of the teacher. So you look at her proficiency and her competence that would enable and then empower the teacher to meet the requirements of the profession and face the challenges in the profession. Then we have the dictionary definition there. Teacher education is all the formal and non-formal or the informal activities and experiences that help to qualify a person to assume responsibilities of a member of the educational profession or to discharge his or her duties more effectively. That is the teacher education. So teacher education is divided into three. I'm coming. Okay, so teacher education is divided into three stages. We have the initial teacher education, that is the pre-service, what we go through in the colleges of education, in the university when we are receiving our bachelors of education. Then we have the induction stage, which is providing guidance and support during the first few years as a prospective teacher. So it could be the off-campus teaching practice. Then we have the teacher development. That is the in-service education for prospective teachers, meaning that you are already in the job or in the profession, but you need to be abreast with the coming strategies and other developments in the profession. Now let's look at some characteristics of teacher education. So the focus of the teacher education is upon the content matter and the formation of appropriate knowledge base for each stage of education. Content matter and appropriate knowledge base for each stage of the education. So it will require the high degree of academic and intellectual understanding of the information that is related to teacher education. So according to Kapoor, Features of teacher education include the selection of a theoretical knowledge, that is from the disciplines related to education. So psychology, philosophy, sociology, and these disciplines provide the basis for better understanding and application of a teacher education. Okay, so we have the differences between teacher training and then teacher education. I couldn't copy the thing well from the book. So I have TT and TE. So the method is about theoretical work, and then TE, learning involves real classroom situations. Okay, I think this is on the page 64 of the book. So you can refer to that side to look at the content very well. Okay, so let's look at the instructors or teachers' role in training and education. So who is an instructor? Any idea of who an instructor is? Okay, so you can think of an instructor as probably a coach, someone who just gives instruction on how you should go about something. And okay, so an instructor is a person who teaches specific practical skill, or a person who instructs someone on how to do something. They don't teach you how to do it, but they give instructions on how to do the thing. So an instructor teaches practical things, not theory. So the theory is going to be for the educator. So an example here is a driver who is teaching a person how to drive a vehicle. And then the next one is a language instructor who is also teaching a person how to speak a language. So the main duty of the instructor is to make sure that students have reached a standard level of competence in a relevant skill. Okay, so their duty is similar to that of a coach. Their duty is similar to that of a coach. Now let's look at the teacher. The concept of a teacher. So the teacher is most directly responsible for the person in the process of learning. The teacher is the one in charge of helping students to learn and benefit, or to suffer from the quality of his or her teaching. So if a teacher teaches well, it makes sense to the student. If the student or the teacher does not teach well, it is the student that also suffer. So that is to say that teachers educate children in primary and secondary schools or colleges. So the teacher is the one who is in charge of making and helping the students learn and benefit from what is being taught. So you can think of it as starting from the basic level through to the university. So an example is a physics teacher. Now, look at what the work of the teacher. The teacher will teach the theories. If there are formulas involved too, he would have to teach that one. Then any other relevant information about that subject. So this one they have given us physics. Now he also has to go further to the practical aspect. Whatever theory the teacher has taught will now be put into practice. So the teacher deals with impacting knowledge. His job involves facilitating learning, monitoring and evaluating students, and guiding them on the right path. So our work does not end with teaching the content of our books, but also to serve as role models and to direct the children that have been placed in our care. Okay, so let's look at the difference between an instructor and a teacher. Okay, so we have one. The teacher teaches students. And as teachers, I believe we know what goes into teaching. Whilst the instructor will only give instructions and the child would have to follow. So the instructor does not really teach. Then the teacher imparts theoretical knowledge. Then the instructor teaches a specific practical skill. So let's say if you are to do something on carpentry, a teacher would teach the theoretical aspect of it, and then make sure that after teaching the theories, he will help you to follow the steps in order to make whatever you are supposed to make. But the instructor will just give specific instructions, then going around to see that you are doing what he is saying. So it's specific. Then teaching is a long-term job. And once a teacher, you are always a teacher. So you can be a teacher till you die. But the work of the instructor is a short term. It is not a permanent job. Because the moment the person achieves the skill you are trying to impact, your job is done. But with a teacher, you are looking at the totality of the individual, even to guiding them in their real life situations. Then the teacher has many duties. Sometimes I look at teachers going to school very early, supervising children on the plot, seeing to it that the classrooms are well organized and all those things. I said, wow. Yes. So a teacher has many duties. It's just like managing a home. So the school becomes the extension of the home. Then the instructor does not have many duties. You would get there when your people are ready. And if it is a training section, they are already in line. You give your instruction. In fact, you don't do any job, extra duties apart from giving your instructions. Then we have the teacher can perform the role of an instructor. Because in teaching, we also give instructions. But we make sure that the children are really doing what is expected of them. But the instructor, he cannot perform the role of an educator. Okay, so there is a mistake here. The instructor cannot perform the role of an educator, but an educator or a teacher can be both. The key role of an effective teacher or instructor. Okay, so as an effective teacher or instructor, planning is key in your work. The key role of effective teacher or instructor is planning. Now, planning involves a range of activities. That is one. Initial assessment. Please mute your microphone. Please mute your microphone. Okay, thank you. So the initial assessment, that is to clarify whether all those in the group are of the same level. And it can be done formal by asking questions to confirm the knowledge base. And mind you, people in the class are not the same. So you should also be able to plan logically the session and using clear language on appropriate level. You should also prepare materials and resources, that is teaching learning materials or resources for teaching and then learning. So as a teacher, you need to plan ahead. You look at what you will teach tomorrow. If it is necessary that you get certain things in order to aid teaching, you get them, and then the next day you are good to go. Then you should also be able to engage learners in the subject. So you can present the learning or the information in various formats in order to engage the learners. So for example, let's say you are teaching fruits, vegetables, and the likes. You can choose to get plenty of these things all together. Then you group the class. Then you ask one group to pick fruits, the other ones to pick vegetables. So you should be able to engage the learners in the subject. Then you should also give feedback. Now, how do we get feedback? Any help? How do we get feedback?
Hello, madam.
Yes.
Asking question.
Yes, we can
Okay.
get feedback by giving class exercises.
Okay. So if you give a class exercise, what will happen?
The learners will respond to the question you gave.
Okay. So you give exercises, you don't leave the exercises there. You need to mark the exercises in order to get the feedback. Because if you give the exercise, they do it and you leave the book somewhere, that doesn't give you the feedback. It is the marking of the exercise that gives you the actual feedback that you know. Because in your lesson plans, you have written objectives, and they are very smart, that by the end of the lesson, a pupil should be able to. So you mark the exercise in order to see whether you have achieved your set objectives. Then we look at keeping records. Very, very, very important. Yes, recently I was called to justify someone's marks. Yes, and luckily for me, I had all the records. Class tests, the exercises, I had everything in a file. So I was able to provide the record in order to free myself. So there is a need for us to keep records of everything, be it group presentation, anything that adds up to the child's report, and as in the grading, you should keep them so that if a parent is not so sure about the child's performance, thinking that you have done something, you can also defend yourself. Then lastly, you should also evaluate yourself as a teacher. And we should be dedicated to our work. Once a teacher is always a teacher. So we shouldn't underestimate the amount of time we need to dedicate to the role. You are a parent in the school. Okay, so we have some small history about education. So this needs a lot of reading. All right, so from the early 90s, that is the advent of mass organized elementary schools for children of working classes. I'm sure this is stemming from the European time. Yes, where some working classes parents need people to look after their children whilst they go out to work. So it started with the missionaries, then it came to we have the teacher pupil teacher system, which is now not really working because we are all upgrading ourselves. Then it moved to the English pupil teacher system because we needed to have a proper means of communication between us and the whites. So the pupil teachers were normally apprenticed for 5 years from the age of 13. They were examined annually by the government inspectors and their progress were monitored. So they were entirely dependent on the patronage and the goodwill of their head teachers. Yes. So, you know, you should be in the good books of the head teachers so that they will patronize you. So you think of the size, the class size, then the narrow expectations for their charges in terms of educational achievements. That is why we say they are pupil teachers. They are not qualified teachers. So you can even think of the remuneration for them. Now let's look at the future development. The future development in teacher education. All right, so it says that there is a need to shift from the traditional based teaching. Any problem? All right, so there is a need to shift from the traditional based teaching that is based largely on the theoretical educational processes. So we should move from the traditional base to the theory and research theory based. Yes, that will inform us and inspire our teaching. Then models of teacher education and training for the 21st century. We are using models in teaching this class. So the new directions will have to contend with the models of the teacher education. And then the current model needs to be reformed. And the inventions of the new models would have to be developed to enable the teacher to adapt comfortably to the changes. So the models are there. It is up to us, the teachers, to adapt comfortably to these changes. Then there is also the need for participatory teacher education, that the teacher should play active role in the training process. Then the teacher should be the central and the key participant in curriculum reforms and innovation. So anytime the stakeholders are meeting on the curriculum for any reforms, the teacher needs to be there, because the teacher is the one with the kids and the one to implement whatever reforms they would bring on board. So the teacher should also write a bank of learning activities for the learners to access at their own pace. They should offer the children a wide range of learning activities according to their interests and capabilities. So every child is special. So all these things should be taken into consideration, the child's interests. Then the new teacher education and training should not lose sight of the power of technology for both teachers and student learning. That is why there is a learning of ICT or computing. Yes. Myself this morning, I have really suffered up. Yes. So there is a need for us to incorporate the ICT into the classroom and help the children to be able to also use these machines. Yes. People born before computers are suffering, and there should be a way to involve them in these things so that they can also use it. Now lesson plans are online, various teaching materials online. You go online, you get everything. Teaching has become very easy. Okay, so let's go to the next unit. Hold on for me. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, I can't hear anything now. Can't hear your voice.
Madam said she's coming. She said she's coming, so wait.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
I'm using different machines, so I have to operate all at the same time.
So we are moving on to Unit 3. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so I'm trying my best. Hello. Hello. Okay, I'm trying to share, but under my window, nothing is coming. Okay, so let's use the book.
Okay.
We are going to Unit 3.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so under Unit 3, we are going to look at the concepts, teacher development, teacher career stages, continuing professional development, that's the CPD, and insets within the concept of teacher development continuum. The feedback is too much. I'm coming. I'm trying to reduce the feedback. I'm coming. Okay, so now let's look at the definitions of teacher development. That is the TD. This one is okay. Hello? Hello,
Hello.
can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Yes,
Yes, please.
yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so we are looking at the concept of teachers. Okay, so CPD stands for Continuing Professional Development, and the term is normally used to describe the learning activities professionals engage in to develop and enhance their abilities. I hope you have seen the page. Page 95. Okay, page 95.
I'm not hearing you, please. Please, are you saying the screen?
Madam, can you see the screen?
I'm trying to share, but the window is not showing the screen. It's not showing the screen. That is the problem. Now okay. So let's not waste time. If the screen is not working, let's look at what we have in the book. So can you mute your microphones? Okay. So staff development are often used to refer to comprehensive development, which may training that support career growth incentives among many.
Please, madam, the background noise is too much. Some of us, we are not getting anything. The background noise is too much.
Are we okay?
Yeah, we are okay.
Okay, so it also includes incentives. Now, this enables learning to become conscious and proactive. If teachers are well developed, highly motivated, it makes them become conscious and proactive, especially in the classroom. They become active rather than being passive. Now, CPD, which is the continuing professional development, consists of reflective activity designed to improve an individual's attributes, the knowledge, the individual's understanding, and her skills. So in general, it is to support the individual needs and improve the professional practice. So CPD can be observing colleagues at work. That is when your colleague teachers are teaching and you are not doing anything, you can observe them. We surely will learn something from how they are performing their role. Then engaging in peer review. Yes, that is why there is the staff room. So as colleagues, you should engage with other colleagues. Just as the students or the learners will also have peer review. As teachers, we should also be doing it. Then working with a mentor or a coach. If someone is understudying you, yes, you are coaching or you are mentoring the person. Then we should also be reading academic or professional books or journals so that we'll be abreast with information outside. new things that are coming on board. Then we should also engage in action research, that is inquiry-based development. Then we should be attending courses or conferences, seminars, anything that will develop us as professional teachers. Then we should also make it a point to join a network or a forum. I see on WhatsApp there are plenty teacher, what's the name? I've forgotten, but there are plenty teacher platforms that you can be on. They share information on, we are all interested in salaries. So they share information on when salaries will be paid, teaching, learning resources. They are all there. If there is a need for a joint meeting or anything, they put it there and it's under WhatsApp. So continuing professional development means systematically and regularly providing all teachers with such opportunities for professional improvement and growth. So that is the reason why we have continuing professional development, to systematically provide teachers with all the opportunities that is needed for us to improve in our profession. Now it is the process by which teachers renew and extend their commitment as change agents to moral purpose of teaching. So there is a need to review, renew, and also extend our commitment. Since we are role models, we are also the agents of change, especially to the moral upbringing children. Now, it is also the process by which teachers acquire and develop critically the knowledge base, the skills, and emotional intelligence, especially for professional thinking, planning, and practice with children. So the CPD is very good for us teachers. It will keep us abreast with information on education, improve our knowledge base, our attitude, our skills, anything we need as a teacher to develop. Okay, so what CPD does, what it does. So for individuals, it enables the individual to adapt positively to changes in both work and industry requirements. So we will deal with the institution. So we'll adapt positively to the changes that comes in our workplaces, for us to become more efficient, especially with our time, record keeping, then providing proper evidence of continuing professional development. And I'm sure when we go for any in-service training, there is certification and evidence to show that you have gone through this series of training in order to equip yourself. It also shows a clear commitment to self-development and professionalism. Yes, if you want to upgrade yourself, people are not supposed to push you. You should have a clear commitment to yourself that I want to be a good teacher. So you should have that individual commitment to push yourself in order to develop. CPD also provides an opportunity for an individual to identify knowledge gaps and to resolve these in a recognizable approach to improvement. Now, CPD for organizations. So providing CPD accredited training and events can benefit your organization. That is through recognition and increased brand perception. Internal use of continuing professional development encourages and promotes healthy learning culture for the organization that can lead to a more fulfilled workforce and retaining valuable staff. We know from HR, we realize that if you become redundant, they lay you off. So if you are able to upgrade yourself, your worth increase, and as such, you become a valuable asset for the institution. Let's look at some characteristics of a CPD. Now, CPD is a process. It is not an event. And it can be done at different times. That is why it is a process and not an event. So it can happen in stages over time. So there are some in-service trainings that it's divided into sessions. So it all cannot be done at a go. We need to get our objectives well achieved. So it can be done in stages. Then it is also systematic and regular. So at least in every term or every academic year, there should be some sort of CPD because it is a personal thing and it also benefits the institution or the place where you are working. Now, it should also be well planned and thought of. So during in-service trainings, we have people coming to teach us or give us instructions or information on some things that they know better than us. It can be done by an outsider. It can also be done by a colleague. By colleague, I mean someone who is well experienced in that area that is being taught at that time. Then it is also collaborative. There should be unity of purpose among participants and facilitators. So it is not one person or individual based, but the moment it is being organized, then you should know that you are not the only person going to sit there for the conference or the seminar. There would be other people, even if they are not from your workplace. They might also need the development for themselves. Then it is also holistic and a comprehensive training. Yes, the teacher is always the target because the teacher is the focal point. The teachers relate straight to the students. Then how it should be carried out. So we have short inset courses. It can be on ICT, that is the incorporation of ICT into teaching, a subject-based methodology, approaches, yes. Then studies can also lead to further qualifications, yeah, because it is upgrading. Now, how to plan your CPD. Now, first you should assess your current situation. Determine your professional development goals for both the current year and the medium term. Everybody's needs varies. So you should be able to assess your current state, and then determine your future development goals for both the current years. Now, it is very useful to ask yourself these following questions if you need to plan for CPD. What do you want to achieve? And be mindful to ask yourself what you have achieved so far. Then what do you need to learn, especially in your field of profession? How will you learn it? Then you create a plan of action in order to achieve the above goals. So in maintaining the CPD, is simple steps to follow. That is to perfect the CPD. It is 1, to plan, do, record, and then you reflect. Now let's look at the do aspect. Now the moment you think of the do, you should plan. And then you get out there to start developing. It requires time, management skills, patience. You don't yourself, you don't feel like you have to do anything apart on yourself. So there is a need to, organize yourself. Then you get out there. Then you find something or do something. Then the record will look at recording your progress against the plan. How are you progressing with a plan? Such as training, learning, experience that you get outside. So when considering an activity that is part of your normal working day routine, as in the most instance, it does not qualify as development because it is a routine, something we normally do or we always do. Okay, so you should also reflect. Reflect on your reporting. Now, whatever you have recorded, you sit down and you look at what you have achieved, what you need to add on. Then you place value on the work for yourself. It is useful to ask yourself the following questions though. What did you get out of this? So planning, doing, recording, reflecting. After everything, what did you get out of what you did? What have you learned? How did you learn it? How will you apply it in practice? And looking at the resulting change, you compare to the previous one, then you see if there is a change. And you look at the benefit of your CPD and how it will benefit your client or your service to your people. Okay, online professional platforms in teacher development. I've already talked about the WhatsApp platform for teachers, yes. So let's look at other platforms. So we have the professional learning networks. That is the PLN. So it comprises professionals of different backgrounds that engage or form that network in order to improve their practice. We learn from each other. So there's a need to build connections in our profession so that we can learn from each other. Then we also have the online professional learning. Now let's look at the importance of the online professional platforms. It helps the teacher to identify and replicate the best practices from other members of the network. So knowledge is not in one person's mind. So if we are able to connect with other people from different areas, we are able to identify and replicate the best practices that is working for them in their areas. Mind you, not all these practices can work in our areas because the school environment and culture are different. But there are some ways that we can incorporate some of these into our area. Now, teachers can also be supported and get access to new ideas and practical solutions to thorny issues. So apart from the fact that we learn to teach from each other, when there is anything concerning the professionals, we are able to share ideas and then as a group seek solution to these issues. Now, it is also a platform for teachers to converse. See, even on our normal teaching platforms, when teachers are not ready to give a presentation, we do talk. You ask about other courses, timetable, and other things. So the network also helps teachers to freely converse and discuss issues with other educators through the media. Okay. Assessment. The concept of teacher development. So let's look at what makes a great online platform for professional development. Now, there are so many criteria to evaluate these various platforms. Now, first, the platform must be authoritative, meaning the affiliation with a reputable institution of higher learning or instructors with impressive experience level. So there must be authority in the group. Then the second one will deal with the platform must have breadth. That is to have to cover wider range of subjects or other topics that are central to a specific area. Then we have the online platform for quality professionals development. We also have the peer coaching platform. Peer coaching platform. Now, this is to equip teachers to use pedagogical technologies or techniques to tackle changes or challenges that they face in the classroom. Similarly, after considering the tech landscape in the low tech, so that is the peer coaching platform for peers or for peer coaching, as in groups. Then we have the performed, that is perform ED, given limited connectivity in most areas. So all the resources of perform are designed to function offline. So you can access that one offline so that teachers will have access to the content, as we are all facing network issues. So if the thing is offline, everyone would have access to the information. Then we have the Coursera or the Coursera. Now, this is said to be the best online professional development platform for course variety, because it gives a lot of options that you want without sacrificing the quality. It started in the computer science development at Stanford. So it is considered the best for professional development. Now, if you want a certificate for the course, you are expected to go through the assignment of, they give assignments, you write quizzes, or you'll be examined in order to get a certificate for this. But for those who are just interested in learning something new to develop their skills, that is audit most of the courses for free. Meaning you will not write any exams. You just go through the course just to develop yourself. Then we have the General Assembly. It is also one of the best online professional development platform, which comes into interactions with instructors and mentors. So the courses they offer can be both in person or online. So they focus on development, design, and data. Challenges of belonging to online professional platforms. Okay, so among the challenges can be put into groups. We have the technical challenges, instructional strategy, online teaching challenges, then student-related challenges. Okay, so let's look at the technical challenges. Now, it behoves on the teacher to learn about the rules governing the interactions that goes on within the platform. The teacher would have to be well equipped with all these things. This is because they have to sort through the information available to figure out the social norms for the activity spaces to smoothly and meaningfully incorporate themselves into the network. Then we have difficulty in navigating within the platform. So that is talking about the unique tools and learning to navigate within the space, which could sometimes be overwhelming for the individual. Then we have lack of privacy. Meaning whatever you put there can be accessed and used by a lot of people. So there is no privacy there. The moment you put the information there, you have a number of people viewing it. Then we have connectivity issue. Dealing with the internet data. Yes, now MTN is joking with us. You connect and in the next minute is off. And it is freezing everything on your machine. So we have to find a reliable connectivity, and that will allow us to be able to link up and stay in touch with issues on the platform. You send an information and you realize that about 5 minutes later, it is now appearing there. But the moment you paste, it is supposed to appear. That is all due to the connectivity. Then we have instructional strategies. Now it is believed that learners can engage very well in learning when they see that the materials are valuable to them. And they themselves are seen as valuable. Now this will help the student to engage with the content in what or in the way that makes sense for them. Then we have feedback loops. Feedback loops, that is challenges with feedback. Yes. So feedback is needed to know whether we have achieved our goals or not. If the feedback are not coming, you do not know whether you are progressing or not. So in the classroom, response system can also help the faculty members understand how students are performing. That is normally through evaluation. When questions are posed to the class is supposed to respond, and it can be oral or written, any of them. Then we look at the problem-based learning. The more specific tasks should be given to the online to encourage collaborative work. Okay, then we have the online teaching challenges where the student becomes passive. You ask a question and no one is answering. They are quiet and listening to the lecture. Then staying connected with students. That is one of the most challenges of the online classes. So now, how do we stay connected with students? So for your end, you have the coordinators. You can talk to them. Your peers are there. Stay connected. If there's anything that you need to find out, then they can, your course reps and other organograms put in place can now relay the information so that we can all be connected and nobody will be missing from the fold. Then we should also encourage collaboration. Now, the key challenge of teaching is doing it well. So that is why there is the need for us to assess ourselves, see where you are going wrong, and then you try to improve on it. Then we have selecting the right tools. How do we select the right tools for use in our classrooms? Now, in order to select the right tools for use in a classroom, you should look at what you are going to teach, what the groups can do. Then you can go ahead to select. Then the tools should also fit the level of the students in the class. Designing effective assessments. Now, in assessing students or pupils, you should take into consideration the kinds of people you have in your class. Set questions in a way that everybody would have a pick in the set of questions that you would put there. We have the higher thinkers, the slow, yes. So all of them should be taken into consideration. I personally think open book exams are difficult. Yes, because some of the questions they will ask, you will look everywhere in the book and you will not find the answer. But it is interesting though. Yes, it gives you the higher order thinking skills because you are thinking at the same time you are looking for answers in the book. Questions placed there are mostly critical. They are critical thinking abilities, and then they should reflect the level too. Then we have the online proctored tests, online alternative assessments, student-related challenges. Student-related challenges. So understanding course expectations. What are the expectations for the course? That is clear understanding of what the course expectations should be, either difficult or easy. Then you look at barriers to e-learning, which often relate to lack of planning and consideration for students. And so those who are complaining of the network issues, it is the same everywhere, but they will see what they can do. Then you should also provide learners with clear instructions. on how to proceed with learning materials and course expectations. We also have student progress and intervention. That is the powerful platforms of that facilitates that instructors easily track learners' progression. Yeah, so they keep records of everything to see how well you are progressing in the course. Then we have the e-learning increases engagement. Okay, so let's look at the stages of career development of teachers. Okay, so teachers form part of the stakeholders in education system. So in the teacher career stage, we have factors such as the personal and professional circumstances, histories, and context also influencing their professional needs. So this has to be looked into for the teacher to progress in his or her careers. Models for career stages. We have the chronological age. So we have teachers being classified as young. So I'm a young teacher, I'm a middle-aged teacher, and older with necessary specifying their respective range or age range. Yes, we have some older generations in the teaching field. So some of us are young teachers, others are middle-aged. Yes. Then we also look at the teacher experience. Teacher experience. This category shows the role of experience in terms of being at the expert level, matured level, or experience stage. So for example, one of the school of thought suggests that a matured period occurs only after the 15th year of teaching. Then a second view suggests that the age of maturity can begin as early as the 3rd and the 5th year of teaching, respectively. So teaching experience would have to deal with the number of years you have spent in teaching. So the beginning stage consists of 2 phases. That is the survival and discovery stage. Yes, at this period, you are trying to survive in the profession. And that is the stage you tend to discover. Then you stabilize your stage. So the survival and the discovery stages consist of the first 3 years of the teacher's career, where the teacher struggles for survival and typically reports a sense of exhaustion and sometimes frustration and feeling overwhelmed with work. Yes, teaching is not an easy thing. At the stabilization stage, which occurs within the years of 4 to 6, the teacher becomes more established in their profession and are more affiliated with teaching profession as a result of the numerous in-service programs they go through. So initially you fumble, then you get to stabilize yourself because you have gone through a lot of development, equipped yourself in order to stabilize yourself. Then number 2, we have the middle career stage, which starts from 7 to about 30 years of teaching. It is made up of the experimentation, activism, and stock-taking stage. Now let's look at the experimentation. It is from 7 to 18 years of teaching. Now these teachers become interested in increasing their skills, their effectiveness, and impact of their instruction on the people. They therefore tend to experiment with new materials, instructional strategies, and instructional strategies. So experimentation here is very high because everything that comes on board, you want to put it into practice to see the outcome. Then we have the seniority and the conversativism stage, which occurs between 19 years and 30 years of teaching. Now here, teachers have a greater sense of self-acceptance. There is no, I'm tired. Now they have come to accept the work. Yes, and they see it becomes a normal routine for them. And here they have the content, that is the subject matter and everything in their head. You ask anything, they will give you the answer because they have gone through the teaching for a very long time. And probably they have taught the same thing for a number of years. So without even comparing, they can teach. Then we have the final stage. That is the disengagement. And that is one should attain 30 or more years of teaching experience. And this is characterized by readiness to withdraw from the profession. Yeah, so at this stage, people normally get fed up of doing one thing for a long time. So they want to withdraw from the profession, stay home. It could also be possible that at this stage, some of them are going on pension. Yes. But those who are not going on pension are probably fed up with one way of doing things. And the moment you decide to withdraw, your commitment level decreases. Then number 3, that is the chronological age, nor years of teaching experience. That is neither of them. Now, teachers at various stages of these careers are named differently in different countries. Teachers who have completed their required pre-service training and are in their first year of service are described variously as early stage teachers, or newly qualified or newly trained teachers, beginning teachers, or new teachers. So we have a lot of names for them. Newly qualified, newly trained teachers, beginning teachers, new teachers. That is from the point of being newly qualified teachers. Okay. Let's look at the stages of career development of teachers. We have the enthusiastic in and growing. Then we also have career frustration, stability, career wind down, then career exit. Yes. So initial stages, you are very enthusiastic about the work. You are very punctual, going about your duties, energetic. Then frustration sets in a bit because you cannot put 2 and 2 together for some time. Later, you tend to stabilize. Then, as you progress with the experience, development, and everything, your career starts to wind down. Then eventually, people decide to exit the career. Okay, so let's look at the pre-service stage, which is the beginning of a teacher's career. Here, the rudimentary principles of the profession are learned in an institution of higher learning or colleges. This stage allows the student teachers to acquire insights and philosophies on teaching. So from this initial training to the next stage, that is the induction stage, is described as professional orientation or probation period. So the pre-service stage allows the teachers to acquire insights and philosophies on teaching. Now let's look at the induction stage. The induction stage is the first few years of the teacher's career, where the concepts learned during the pre-service stage are incorporated into real world. So be it in the training college or in the university, most of the teaching there is theory. Then when you meet the actual students that you are supposed to handle for maybe for some time until you yourself you leave, that is the real situation. Then you start putting all those theories that you have learned into action. Now, as the teacher settles into the profession, they seek out new methods, materials, and strategies, and are open to new ideas and approaches. As for this one, you want to practice everything that you have been taught. Yes, because you are very enthusiastic about the work. Then in the enthusiastic and the growing stage, the teachers are enthused and interested in growing in the profession. During this time, the teachers are typically excited to go to work and interact with students. Yes, you see that they'll be the first to come and then register their names in the attendance. As time goes on, things will change. Yes, because frustration will set in. Now, these occurrences will go down due to marriage and other personal things. Okay, so if you, for example, let's say you are a woman and a teacher for that matter, when you are not married, you get up, you only take care of yourself, you go to work. But as time goes on, when you add up in your family, you wake up, you have to look at other things before you can go to work. Then we have the career frustration, which is marked by the inability to realize one's aspiration, leading to job dissatisfaction. Yes, it is very prudent that we realize our aspiration so that we will not be dissatisfied with our job. Some people are teachers because that is the only job they could get. And as such, the satisfaction will set in. And in most cases, resource limitation is also a regular cause of the frustration among teachers, where you do not have adequate resources, teaching, learning materials, and other things to support your work. I remember watching on TV an ICT teacher trying to teach computer, and there was no computer in the school. He was drawing them on the board, and even with mouse. The pupils were drawing rat, that is mouse. So sometimes inadequate resources can also bring frustrations in the job. Then we have the career stability stage. This is where the individual reaches the career plateau. That is the apex, before the declining set in. Now the stage includes either stagnation or renewed growth. And stagnation occurs when teachers lose their enthusiasm and the passion they had for teaching, because they have gone through the work for a very long time and it has become a routine for them. Then we have the career wind down stage, which is characterized by anticipation of retirement. Yes. So I said it could be that the person has gotten a new job that is better paying, or because of the years stated there, 30 years going, then it could also mean the person is going on retirement. So it is characterized by anticipation of retirement and the reflection on experiences, as some teachers may reflect on the enjoyment of teaching and are appreciative of the times they had working with children. Now, there are some teachers, when they go home, their life ends. When they come back to school, their life begins for them. Yes, because they find the joy in meeting children, interacting with them, asking them questions and all those things. But when you go home, probably you are there alone. Okay, so the career wind down stage can span from a number of weeks to years. And it's usually the precursor of leaving the profession. During this exit stage, the individual returns from the profession. When this occurs forcefully, the individual may be okay, so the individual may be frustrated, because most of the teachers around get their gratification in the work they do. the work they do keeps them alive. Okay. So I think we would end the lesson here. We are left with some few, then we'll get to unit 4. Okay, but please try solving the questions we have under each of them. Those asking for past questions. Are we okay?
Yes, please.
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I'll contact code to see the problem with the I'm having with the machine, then we'll see the way forward.
Okay.
All right, have a fruitful weekend.
You
You too,
too.
madam.
Same to you.
You.